type of commercial factors, if any, factor into, say, a production schedule, either for a show or the size of pieces that you're working on? Or do you have many pieces that you're operating at the same time, or is it literally one piece to another? What kind of commercial decisions are you making that sort of shape your production process?
So I try to fill my kiln
Fill
every
the
time.
kiln,
You know,
right.
I run it, so I'm running it full. And so my kiln is, I don't know, 4 feet by 2 feet by 3 feet deep. So I'm doing a lot of pieces at once. I mean, unless I'm doing big pieces, I have a minimum of 2 in there. Some the smaller pieces I can have 10 or 12. So I don't work on one thing at a time. Rarely ever. You know, I'll work on it part way and then go back and forth. And sometimes things go in the kiln and they don't come out right. And then I'll recast, you know, I'll add on to them and put them back in. I do, like, I think the one thing I did this project called Viper, which was a 40-foot long snake kind of thing. And that was a 6-month project. And I just, you know, figured out how I had to do it. Like, the pieces were all done individually, but they basically are the same. You know, they're
your backdrop. We know it very well. It's right behind you, right? That's Viper.
Oh, yeah,
all taken apart
yeah.
and dissected.
Yeah, it became something else. So that was just, I mean, I just figured out how many I needed, and you know, I put 13, and that's how many I could fit in my kiln. And I just, you know, kept working at it. It was a crazy project, but it was fun.
Well, the part of the question was from your pieces, like the knots. So you're changing scale when you do knots, and then it was also, if I understood it correctly, kind of like a ball of yarn. So they're kind of smaller, compact objects. And I just wonder, they seem like, relative to the very intricate work that you're doing, that maybe they are easier. I don't know if that's right or not. And then maybe they serve a purpose that is not just the emotional aspect of creating it, but maybe there's a commercial component that drives it. I don't know if that's true or not.
You know, the knots actually started during the pandemic, and I'm just, you know, how you make a wish and you tie a knot.
Is there ever a moment, Carol, where you're so emotionally connected to a piece that you really don't want to let it go, or you don't let it go in that moment and reconsider, or does it not work that way?
I have a few pieces that I'm keeping for myself, but mostly when I finish it, I'm done. You know, there are pieces I look back at and wish I'd kept, but mostly not. I mean, it's the process that I'm interested in, and you know, the work is like, you know, I mean, it's important, but it's not. That's not why I do it. So I think with my hands. So in making work, I am thinking through whatever's going on in my life, and when I'm done with that piece, it's like, okay, you know, on to the next idea. And I don't think any piece can solve everything. You get it to a point where you've worked out whatever you were working out, and then you move on to the next one. I don't know who the next collectors are. Like, millennials are not really collecting. No. I mean, they tend to be like the people who don't have things, you know. So, I mean, maybe we're moving away from an object-based society. I don't know. I mean, I'm an object maker, so I don't know what's going to come of that.
Because I mean, there may be a public perception. I mean, I'm not speaking for everyone, but for me, as to think that, I mean, glasses. We're surrounded by glass objects. You know, with windows, cups. A lot of objects in our household are actually made from glass. And do you think, because we're surrounded by these material, that art pieces that is made from glass may be overlooked or underrated as an art piece? Do you think like this material has got? I mean, there's some fascinating aspects of this material because of this clarity. I mean, when we see gem, crystal, there is some certain fascination that we, like human, has towards this clear object, and that has been for a long time. I mean, we talk about decades and centuries, but I mean, for now, there seems to be turned around towards glass. What do you think about that?
So, I guess it depends on what level of collectors you're looking at. Like everyday people are not going to probably buy much glass art because it's expensive. You know, when they can buy a print at IKEA that makes them happy. I mean, really, we are surrounded by art. Even on the internet, we are just bombarded with images of art. So I think, what makes bigger collectors, like wealthy collectors collect, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I did, you know. Yeah. But everyday people, maybe they just don't need objects. They don't. Certainly, they don't need glass. They might just need that print, like I said, or pretty tablecloth or something.
Yeah.
Carol, out of all your collectors that you know of, which is your best kind of collectors you would like to have?
The best kind of collectors. Well, I have one couple who they have probably a dozen of my pieces, and I love them. I just love that they love my work enough that they keep buying it, right? They have multiple pieces and they really enjoy it, and that means a lot to me. You know, so they're not buying it because they think it's worth a certain amount or that it's going to go up in value. They're buying it because they love it. Couldn't ask for anything better than that. I think you need to buy stuff because you love it, not because it matches your couch or because it's gonna, be worth $10,000 tomorrow. I mean, I just don't understand that.
So why you keep making it? It's just because
I'm obsessed.
You're obsessed. That's to me.
It's an illness, really, because my work's really intensely time-consuming and challenging, but I am surprised every time I open a mold, and I love that. I love the process.
To me, that's the artist's quality. It's this obsession with certain things. I mean, you would see. I remember when a long time ago, one of my colleagues who was teaching art, he told me a very good story. He said, it's not. Sometimes you look at a piece of work, it's very simple, maybe just a few lines, maybe even a kid can do. And he was saying to me, but can you do this for the rest of your life? Just drawing a line for the rest of your life. There's so much obsession into that thing. And to me, that's the artist's quality, it's the passion.
I don't know if it's a flattering thing. It just is what it is, right? I can't deny.
It's definitely a flattery.
Can I have one more question about the Viper piece? That's the Viper, right? It's been rearranged in the background. Yeah. I see that your method that each time the mold that you have made with the glass, you actually is broken down each time. So when you make these pieces, is that many positive, negative that individually you made, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can. It's because of knitting. The way it interlocks.
Yes.
I can't make I could make a rubber mold of it, but when you pour wax in a rubber mold to get duplicates, they need to be cleaned up a lot, and there would just be. It's easier just to make it. Again.
So each piece has been made individually, slightly different. Yeah, I mean that's certainly kind of. I mean for me, looking at your background, that would broken the kind of like perception of glass being mass produced and when like it's each piece is handmade and slightly different and it's incredible. Just
it's really
it's that much
it's
more.
Kind of a stupid way to do it. I mean, but I like that, if you're going to make something by hand, I like there to be an evidence of the hand in some way. I like the idea that they're not all the same and that there's, variation.
And then
And the imperfection of it too.
Yeah, the time and process, and that you're put in just makes it just that much more incredible if you think about it. Yeah.
That's one word you could use.